Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third edition of the Microsoft Technical Takeoff for Windows and Intune. We're kicking off 4 days of deep dives, demos, and Q&A with 4 of our engineering leaders. Let's start with some brief introductions. I'm Haja Dalwal, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Cloud Endpoints. And here's the amazing panel who are my awesome colleagues.
Hi, I'm Sangeeta Vishweshwaran. Most people call me Sangi. I'm an engineering director in Microsoft Intune.
Hey y'all, I'm Aria. I work on updates and commercial AI stuff here in Windows.
Hello, my name is Jaylene Ringer, and I'm the product leader for Windows 365 Link.
And hi, everyone. I'm Bhavya. I work as a group product manager in the Windows Cloud organization, leading product development for Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop.
All right. So I'd like to begin by hearing from each of you. So, at or since Ignite, what are the top things that you've heard from IT pros about either what they were excited about or the challenges they are facing today? Sangi, why don't you start us off?
Sounds good. Thanks, Arjit. During and post-Ignite, I've had a number of customer conversations. Before I talk about the challenges and what excites them, I do want to call out one thing that stands out always in all these conversations is just how passionate they are about their roles, right? Managing using Microsoft products. And so that's really motivating to hear for us too, because it makes it easy for us to learn what our customers want from our products. So I'd start with a thank you for that. With regard to the challenges and what folks are excited about, let me start with the challenge. Top of mind that I'm hearing is security. Security's come up loud and clear in all of these conversations at top of mind. And it's obvious, right? The threat landscape's completely changed around us, and balancing security with end users' convenience has become even more critical and hard for our customers. In fact, a financial services company said this: if we don't have security, we have nothing, right? And that's becoming more and more prevalent. So that's one top of mind. The other top of mind, and in the category that you asked about on exciting, is consistently coming back again, is Copilot, which I love that they're talking about. It is new, it's exciting, and we are building a lot of new ways to make their jobs easier and faster. Yes, it represents the challenges that the customers have because the software and services are complicated. But just that people are excited and thinking about Copilot is in itself is super energizing to me.
I love that, Sangi. Like, that's totally on point with what I'm hearing from customers too. Although the funny part is one of the other things I'm hearing is huge confusion around AI. Like when you said Copilot there, I know for you're thinking of the security Copilot, but that's actually just one of many of our different AI offerings, which are mostly named Copilot. And so that's something I'm hearing from commercial customers is help me. Like I want to adopt AI. I want to look at how I get that in my organization, but I need guidance. What benefits me the most for what I'm looking at? Is that M365 Copilot? Is that security Copilot? Is that Copilot plus PCs? Where should I be going on this journey? And so that's something I'm excited about for providing clarity, even at technical takeoff for that. The other big thing I think you hit on as well is security. And that's something with the transition from Windows 10 to Windows 11 and managing these monthly updates is becoming ever more critical of you really need to patch those vulnerabilities as quickly as possible. And you need to do change management for anything that's being released. And how we can help customers do that better is a pain point that I've heard a lot over the last, I would say, 6 months.
Yeah, for sure.
What I consistently hear is that as part of their portfolio, IT pros are looking for a cloud endpoint that is secure, similar to what Sangeeta and Aria said, secure, simple to manage, and that has that lower total cost to ownership. And it was continued to be amplified at Ignite. And then we're currently with Windows 365 Link in our public preview, and the same messages land. And when they talk about security, what we hear them say is, yes, it is a top priority. And they talk about wanting an endpoint deployed out of box securely without the ability to make it insecure. They want something that takes the mistakes out of the equation. They don't want security features to be disabled. And then, of course, I would say at the same time, they want to, as Sangeeta said, they want to maximize end user productivity. And they want to ensure their data is secure and kept within their purview. They don't want that data to be saved locally. And then from a management perspective, they talk about wanting simplified management, really in those scenarios where optionality isn't needed. For example, they don't want to think about configurations and settings for NAP that isn't even applicable for that particular endpoint. And then they want the endpoint management to be efficient. They want to use processes and tools that they're familiar with. And from a TCO perspective, I would just highlight that I hear a lot that they're looking for a solution that provides that greatest value. Yes, they want security, simple management, but they're also looking for solutions that reduce that total cost of ownership. And that could be within IT operations costs, admin labor costs, end users costs, and so forth.
And just continuing the story, thanks to Jolene, on the cloud side, I think from our customers, we're hearing a lot during Ignite and post Ignite. Hand in hand with security comes resilience. We all know about the big outage that impacted so many of our Microsoft customers, and that is showing up a lot in terms of how's Windows resilience in both the client part of the story, which Arya you were touching on, as well as the cloud side of the story. So for me, security and resilience is showing sort of hand in hand, where it's becoming a common story where you talk about security, you can't really not talk about the resilience stuff that is built in. And then, of course, Jolene touched on this, but the easy manageability, like our customers going back to, hey, what are they liking? I think they're just liking the sheer amount of innovation that we're currently making on the cloud that is actually built on all of the stuff for the client, like being able to leverage Intune just the way I use it for my physical PCs, also for my cloud endpoint, which Windows 365 Link, which Jolene talked about, and for my cloud PCs, which the cloud services operate in, is something that is really connecting with the customers because they're hearing that they're able to use their existing investments and leverage that to extend their device portfolio. So very exciting things coming from Ignite and a lot of focus on security and resilience for sure.
This is really great. So all of you said security, which is super important. And I was about to ask you guys about what does this mean to your customers? And you've already addressed that. It's fantastic. What about the areas of the products that you manage or responsible for?
Security is key across internally and externally. The way that I look at security is how can we change ourselves from being reactive to being proactive? I think that we've been calling it shift left. And we use the Microsoft products internally and management via Intune, and all of the Microsoft security solutions are internally our shift left strategy, just as well as us providing this as the shift left strategy for our customers, right? Whether it is for reducing our attack surface or whether it is for us to put proactive measures in place to not even get attacked, or it is how can we really react rapidly to a threat response. Whatever be it, just using the entirety of the Microsoft tech stack with Entra Identity Auth in the Microsoft security products is how we are thinking about security.
Yeah, mine's probably the easiest answer because the things that I own, right? So like for security updates on Windows, those are critical. We've actually just are in preview now for something called hot patching, which allows you to apply those security fixes even faster because now you don't need to wait for the reboot. As soon as you download and install that monthly quality update that's hot patched, you're already secure. There's no time delay. And we know you download and install pretty much on the day that you scan and find the update. So that dramatically reduces the time to security, which is critical for closing those vulnerabilities. And so that's one that's just an easy answer. There's other things we're doing, and I think Jolene actually mentioned it earlier around Windows resiliency of we know sometimes bad things happen. Unfortunately, over this last year, there were a few bad things that happened that put devices into an unhealthy state where they couldn't keep getting secure. And so how do we ensure that we get you from a bad state to a good state faster is one of the big things that we do on the client side. From a Copilot Plus PC or an AI perspective, there's things such as ensuring devices ship with Pluton or that they've got secured core PCs. As Jaylene said, we know customers want things that are secure out of the box and harder to hack. The other things we're doing are ensuring that your data and your privacy stay secure so that you trust us as you go on your AI journey. You know that we are keeping your data secure. We are keeping your users secure, whether that means that recall is off the box by default, or that you finally look at it and say, oh, all of the data is local. It's behind Windows Hello ESS protection. It's got all of these security measures in place to make sure that that data can't be hacked and exported off of the device. And so there's a lot we're doing to make sure that we are building that trust from the underlying client device to the way that we secure it with updates to the features that are put on top of it to make sure end to end we're keeping you protected.
And I'll actually extend the end-to-end to the cloud because it goes all the way there. And we're in fact built on the secure foundation. So when you talk about security from the perspective of the cloud products, Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop, they're actually built on the secure foundation that Arya was just talking about, which is that Windows client security, the hardware requirements, whether it is TPM, whether that's Pluton. And we extend above that onto the cloud services in 3 pillars, essentially. So we look at securing the identity that you use to log in to your machines that are sitting in the cloud, the securing access to the cloud services. So making sure that you're able to use managed or unmanaged devices, the physical devices, to connect to the cloud PC securely so that your corp data is not going in or out. You have extensive controls to be able to manage that. And then securing the data that is actually sitting on the machine, which is your corp data. So we're making a lot of investments to make sure that all 3 pillars are have comprehensive capabilities for you to be able to secure your environment.
I love that. And Bobby, just building on what you're talking about with Windows 365 Link, it's a direct to Windows 365 solution. Security is on by default, including the TPM, VVS, HVCI, Secure Boot, BitLocker, and even applicable security baseline policies. And there's nothing on the device. There's no local apps, there's no local data, no local users. And then I would say with the strict code integrity policy, only the software required for the solution can run on the device. And then lastly, the solution provides a high security posture from the device to the cloud because the device can only be enter-joined and is fully managed endpoint via Intune.
You're also brilliant. So, we know security and management are deeply connected, right? The world is changing fast with AI and other technologies. How is Microsoft responding to the shift in management and security plus AI?
I'll start first. AI is the future, folks, and it's really great to see all parts of Microsoft embracing this for the future. One, internally, where we're increasing productivity or tooling and everything that we can and internally do with AI, and also as offering to our customers. We in Intune have definitely put our weight behind our Copilot strategy by being rooted on the end-to-end customer value. How we are envisioning this is to meet the customers where they are, right, and build value to simplify the complex. Now, complex can be whatever it means to them, right? So let me, maybe I'll take an example to talk about the complex. We were talking about security, so I'll take one of our Intune Suite features, which is endpoint privilege management, that enables the enterprises to go with standard users to ensure that there is a higher security posture. Now, if everybody's a standard user, there are going to be scenarios where they want to use an app in an elevated mode. And to facilitate it, we have a process for the end user to go request that app be elevated for a period of time. Now, today, when that elevation comes to the admins now got information about the app, got information about the version. Now they have to go do endless pages of research to find out, is this app safe? What is it supposed to be doing? Am I okay in approving this? And it's going to take them hours, sometimes days, to actually validate. And even then, the confidence level with which that they approve this is very low, given they can't exhaustively have looked at it. That's where AI comes in handy now, simplifying that complex. Now, our Copilot that we just released in public preview for this endpoint privilege management support approved scenario, when the app request comes for elevation to the admin, they can use this Copilot feature, and it spans across the entire Microsoft Defender threat intelligence skills. Just think about the breadth of the skills that it's going to look at, analyze the hash, analyze the file, and it's going to provide a response within seconds to the admin, telling them the safety of it and the risk rating around it, that not just reduces the time and energy spent on it, but also increases the confidence with which they can go and approve it. So this is how we are looking at not just it as value, but how can we simplify the complex and bring the security and AI together. And there are other features that Intune released as part of our Copilot public preview, which reduces the complex again, where there's our policies and settings are countless in number, just to showcase the impact of these settings and what changing one means, or helping with troubleshooting a device by enabling admins to compare to devices and seeing, wait, one seems to be working okay and this other doesn't seem to be working okay, and just enabling them to compare and troubleshoot those devices. These are the ways that we are thinking about it. Now, there's another aspect of it that also factors in is we understand that just AI and Copilot, while it's important to simplifying, the accuracy and the relevance of it is very truly relevant and grounded on the data that's backing it up. So we are doing investments on our data platform to bring the customer's data to them and ensuring that we have it in a format that we can also get insights from using our AI strategies. And the recently released multiple device query is a great example of how we are bringing our customers' data and how we are enabling the showcasing of this high quality data back to the customers in really real time. So just bringing it all together, data, critical, right? Bringing our data into our customers' data, and how we could use AI and Copilot into understanding the insights that this data can produce. Some that are obvious to us, right, but it takes a long time to do it. And some, even if we have a long time to do it, just isn't obvious. AI models, this is where large language models crunching this behind comes in. And then not just leaving our admins hanging with this, you got the insights, then what? Creating them ways to act upon and remediate whatever the insights brought in is tying the whole thing together for us.
I wish I had a mic because I was going to do a mic drop for Sanghi. Amazing. Epic. Anyone else want to add on to this?
I'd love to add on to Sanghi. Sanghi actually described exactly what is happening in the Copilot and the Intune world. And everything she was talking about is admin functionality that applies to both the physical devices and the cloud endpoints and the cloud devices. So very exciting to see that. And going back to you're able to leverage your tools to be able to manage your entire device estate, and all of the AI functionality that we're bringing on the IT admin space speaks to that. The same thing goes for the AI in the end user space. So when you look at the cloud side, we're looking at bringing the AI power and for both our IT admins as well as the end users, where we talk about, we've heard this often with AI, you make the complex simple and you make the impossible complex now. So we're trying to make sure that we save time for both our end users and our IT admins to not be able to think about complex stuff. We make it super simple with them. And that AI power will be coming into both the IT admin functionality that Sanghi talked about, as well as our end users who use Windows app to connect to our desktops.
I was just going to add one thing. And I think, to be honest, I get a little AI fatigue. I don't know about you there at home. I don't know about how much you talk about AI at work. I will tell you it's probably about 80% of my job these days. And I think one thing that's really crucial to remember is this is just really a tool in a toolbox. And yes, it's a super powerful tool. And yes, it allows us to do, as Bhavya said, things we couldn't do before, or maybe things that weren't as fast or as easy or as simple or as well done before. But it is really a tool. And so when we think about building these things, whether it's for management or whether for users and for simplicity, it's really, in my mind, about transparency and control for admins and what employee productivity we can gain or what admin productivity we can gain from implementing these things. And that's true whether these things are built using ones and zeros and binary code to turn things on and off, whether they're using heuristics, which have built-in default values, or they're using actual models that are running and computing in the AI standpoint. And so I think as you look at these things, the point is more, what can I do with what different licensing or capabilities? And how do I see when that's coming and what management I need to apply to ensure it meets my organization standards? So if you're freaked out about AI, don't worry. It's a tool in your toolbox, and there is going to be transparency around how you can manage it and control it to meet your environment's needs.
And Jaylene, so what about management and AI from your side of things?
Yeah, with Windows 365 Link, management is fairly straightforward because Link's is purpose-built nature and it's focused intention. Since it's running a small Windows-based OS, there really is just less configuration required. And then when configuration is required, the management is familiar. And I'm just going to give you an example. Since there are no local apps on the endpoint, you don't need to think about specific configuration settings of them on this device. So it minimizes IT admin configuration time. And then I would just add that Windows 365 Link, since it's a direct to Windows 365 solution, customers will seamlessly receive the full range of AI value offered by the service that Bobby has talked about. That value, as that value lights up, with Windows 365 Link, you inherently get it.
Sounds great. So, and of course, this week's sessions, right? Organizations have a variety of devices in their ecosystem, and that's why we're here. This week is all about helping IT pros deploy, manage, and secure all of those. So let's wrap up by highlighting a few of this week's themes, sessions, speakers, right? And let me hear from each of you, my wonderful panel, with what you want to share for sessions and speakers.
I'll start this one. For the Windows Cloud, you're going to see tons of sessions. We talked about security, resilience, manageability, and AI today. The one thing that Arya touched on, and I think Sangi touched on, was end user productivity too. So you're going to see a gamut of sessions that actually cover all of those areas from the Windows Cloud side. I'm very excited and see you all in the sessions.
And with Windows 365 Link, David Wells, it has a deep dive on security and management.
That's exciting. I actually want to tune in for that one. In terms of Copilot stuff, there's a session on untangling AI. So if you're not sure of the difference between M365 Copilot, the Copilot PWA, or Copilot Plus PCs, heck, come to the session and I guarantee you'll leave with a good understanding. Additionally, if you want to think about updating and really why you should move to Windows 11 and Windows 11 24H2, whether on Win365 or a client PC, check out the session on hot patching, which shows how you can get secure even faster.
That's great, Arya. I want to attend Arya's sessions. I already talked about Copilot AI and the data sessions. I looked at the list. I don't want y'all to miss any of the Intune sessions. I do find it hard to pick any. Though if I have to, I'll particularly call attention to the AMA sessions, just because it gives a unique opportunity to ask, at least have more time to ask and get some of your top of mind questions addressed. So do leverage those sessions and attend all my co-speaker sessions. They are awesome.
And of course, you can easily find the full agenda at aka.ms/technical takeoff. In addition to presenting these deep dives, our product teams will be answering questions throughout the whole week, right? So don't forget to scroll down, all the way down the bottom of the session pages and post your questions. All right, folks, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Absolutely. I hope you all check out the sessions this week. We're building these products with a lot of feedback from you. So please continue giving us that feedback. Reach out to any of us. That's very important so that we can influence the product development that we have for you, that are products that are being built for you. Have a great technical takeoff.
Thank you to my legendary panel of leaders. And thank you all for joining us today. Let's get started.